RV&FJ plus reviews.
Hello and welcome back to RV&FJ. This is episode 6. We've always loved the look of this roof rack, but unfortunately it's not flat and it can't hold enough weight, so it's gotta go.
To start, use a 1/2-inch ratchet with a Torx T40 socket and remove the 16 roof rack bolts. Make sure you save all the hardware in case you want to reinstall or sell the original roof rack.
Even with the bolts removed, it is a little tough to get this off. I had to really yank on it and expose my double chin. There it goes, loose finally. Now to take it off. I should have gotten Deb's help with this, but I thought I could do it. It's not that heavy. It's powder coated aluminum, I believe, so it wasn't that heavy. The hard part was it was unwieldy and large, and it was tough to lower it down to the ground without scraping the FJ. But somehow I didn't end up scraping it. As you can see here, there's years of road grime. Down in that white hole, believe it or not, is the other side of the headliner. So you want to make sure that you seal this up properly so you don't get water down there and get stains on your headliner. You've got a silicone all the way around that white piece. There's also along this seam right here and the seam above right here. And I would also make sure that all corners are in good shape. This bracket also needs to be removed. Now, if you don't have good caulking left over, make sure you seal them while you can. There you go. That bracket is finally out. Get rid of some of this crud, and now it's time to clean this area. And I've already brushed it off. Deb's giving me some tools and some soap and some water to clean this. Now you can't use a hose or a bucket. You need to use rags that are wet and slowly clean it, cleaning the rag over and over again so that you don't scrape the paint that's there. I'm turning it constantly, although I probably should have turned it even more. Now, the reason you can't use a hose or a bucket and splash water on it is because it's going to go down those holes and soak your headliner, and you're going to stain the headliner, and it is an expensive piece to buy, and it is a big job to replace. And it'll be very expensive if you don't do it yourself and have somebody else do it. So take your time, clean a little bit at a time until it's finally all done. Now I've gone a little bit extra on here. I'm going to polish the paint up a little bit, give it a little bit of protection. I know this is probably fairly useless, 5 or 6 rains and it'll most likely be gone, but I want to make sure I give it the best chance it has of being nice, shiny, clean, and a nice smooth surface for everything to mount to. Alright, nice and clean, got all the old polish off, and I still need to do a little bit more work, but I wanted to show you what's going to happen here. This gasket is what's going to fit in there. These pressed in metal pieces limit the travel of the bolt. And next it's time to unbox everything. Here's the rest of the kit, all the parts. I've spread out all the hardware on a towel on top of the hood so I can see everything. Here's the installation instructions, if you can believe it. It's a QR code. That's useless to me, so let's get rid of that. Instead, I printed the instructions in color, although there isn't much color on these. They're mostly black and white, but there is some color. This shows all the parts. I'm going to lay them all out so that I know what I have to make sure that I'm not missing anything before I start this. It shows how to install the first sets of bolts. Now, checking this out, I was kind of disappointed that there was some nicks and scuffs. Why didn't they put some insulation in between like they did the other parts? It baffles me that they wouldn't do that. Enough whining, let's start to assemble.
As the instructions show, slide in the drop-in nuts and use 2 1/4-inch hex head bolts and washers. Leave them loose for now so you can make adjustments.
This rubber block waterproofs the roof to the roof rack. You can see there's a narrow side on one side. That goes towards the inside. The larger side faces outward. Using a little bit of blue Loctite so that it doesn't unwind on me and I lose everything off the roof rack on the highway. And just put these bolts in finger tight for now because we want to be able to move everything around to make sure that we have the measurements just right. You can see Deb's moving the other side right there. She's making her measurements on her side and trying to get it right. I put a little more blue Loctite on the other bolt. Again, finger tight. And then it's time to measure. Measuring from the bracket all the way to the end and making sure it's the same on both sides is important, or it won't look right or it won't sit straight. It also could affect your gas mileage, but I'm not 100% sure. There's not like this thing is aerodynamic to begin with. So I measured and I would tighten and it would move and then I would loosen it and I would measure and I would tighten over and over again. If I was smart, I would have used a couple of clamps to hold it in place once I had it in the right position so that when I tightened it, it didn't move. But I didn't think of that. I just let myself get more and more frustrated. But it ended up working out in the end.
Now it's time for the contoured side panels. Again, we've laid towels down to protect the paint. Loosely attach them with the 1/4 inch black button bolts and washers. Now let's add the crossbars.
Now let's prep the fairing. I'm sliding in the drop-in nuts one at a time, using one of the bolts just to push it along. Do you see the 2 holes in the fairing? I'm lining up the drop-in nuts with those holes, just to get it in a basic area. Now when I lift the fairing into place, I can look through the holes and see the drop-in nuts. Right through that hole, right there. Take a washer and a button bolt and start screwing it down. Loosely, of course, so I can move it around to see the next one.
Move the towels to the front. Let's install the Go Fast wind fairing. Again, just loosely so adjustments can be made.
And now making all the final adjustments and torquing everything down.
Boy, that looks great.
It sure is. The old roof rack could only hold about 200 pounds, and I don't know if that's dynamic or static. The new one has 400 pounds of dynamic weight, which means while it's in motion, and 700 pounds static. That means while it's standing still. That means the tent and all of its equipment on the inside. What an upgrade. Bye!
See you in the next episode.